Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Kop End Fracas. I'm joined here today with a couple of friends and a very, very special guest. But let me just quickly say hi to the two regulars. Glam, how are you, mate? Can't hear you, Glam. You're on mute.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, man. Sorry, I'm good, man. You?
Yes. Not too bad. Thank you
I'm
very
having a
much.
crazy technical one this evening, man.
Yeah, it's all good. Don't worry. Soon we'll be back in the studios and life will be normal again. Mush, how you doing, pal?
I'm good, man. It's amazing, isn't it? The weather changes, everything changes when Liverpool get a win. So, just been enjoying the energy that, a good 3 points provides, man. Thank you very much for asking.
Yes, and my goodness, what a shaky 3 points that was. But last and most definitely not least, we are joined by the legendary DJ, formerly known as Jonathan. So if you hear me refer to him as Jonathan from time to time, and for those of you who don't know who this man is, his name is DJ Spoony. He's one of the founding fathers of UK Garage. He's been blessing the ears of radio listeners on the airways for years and years. We're lucky enough I guess for those lucky enough, like the Glams of this world, to hear of these events back in the day, twice as nice, when life was normal. Aside from music, Spoony has hosted many red carpet movie premieres. He's an avid golfer, and most recently, he's a presenter on Global Premier League TV. And most importantly, as he signs off all of these emails with "You Never Walk Alone," he is a massive Liverpool fan. Welcome, DJ Spoony.
Nice one, big up. I tell you what, I even, just to cause a bit of trouble, I like to put in "You Never Walk Alone" at the end of a lot of my emails, especially to people who have no idea what it is, and just see if they are.
That's excellent. That's brilliant. Well, how's things going? We're in this pandemic. How's life? How are you coping?
You know what? It's I always am really careful when I say this, but lockdown's not been too bad for me. I think
good.
I've coped. I've managed. I don't have like great excesses. Good company, great music. Do you know what I mean? So really, it's been fun. There's been so much stuff to keep me occupied. Obviously, the first part of the first lockdown when football stopped, then we weren't broadcasting. But as soon as the Premier League came back into play, then I had my work for Premier League TV, and then I've been doing some live streams from my house called Spoony's House. I mean, it took me ages to come up with that name since the beginning. So I've had a lot on my hands, and it's been fine. I mean, what's interesting is that this time and this period has really allowed us to connect and just slow down a little bit, which I think we all needed. So yeah, it's been good.
Proper. Before we get into the game properly, just as a top line, were you as relieved as the rest of us were to finally collect 3 points in the Premier League?
Absolutely, I was. And it's getting to the stage where, by hook or by crook, I didn't really care if the fashion reflected own goal, 89th minute, whatever. As long as we got the 3 points, it's not been nice of late. Let's just put it that way.
Tell me about it. Okay, cool. So let's get into the game that we are discussing. Liverpool did go all the way to Sheffield and managed to collect a 2-0 away win. Some of us actually managing to end February in style. Mush, I'm gonna come to you first, mate. We won a game of football. Always nice in the league at last.
Indeed.
Let's start with the lineup. So we saw our first centre-back pairing, actual centre-backs, for the first time since November 2020. What were your thoughts going into it, seeing Kabak and Phillips line up at centre half?
Do you know what? I was actually relieved to see Phillips in the team, and the reason being is that I felt, especially that 4 or 5 days where we beat Spurs and West Ham so resoundingly, I actually felt it was really harsh on Phillips, who'd actually lost his place in the team, and a lot of people credited Henderson a lot, and obviously we know Henderson's a great leader, but Nat Phillips, in his ability to win a lot of aerial duels, he looked more and more confident on the ball as well, which was a big accusation that we kind of aimed towards him on the Southampton and the Newcastle performances, where he looked a bit, didn't really understand the plan in possession. I felt like he'd sorted that part of his game out as well. So it was really nice to play him, because one thing that I've felt has been a problem for Liverpool is that, as good as Jordan Henderson is as a footballer, as a person, as a leader on the pitch, ultimately, if you've spent 20 years of your football learning not playing in a position, you're still not going to understand the position well enough compared to someone who's come through the academy system and actually got an education in the position. And I feel Nat Phillips, though he might not be as good as Virgil van Dijk, and I don't think it helps any of our centre-backs that ultimately we know that the main man is so good compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
But no, I was really happy that he went with two centre-backs, because for me, ultimately, even if the results would be good with Henderson or Fabinho at the back, ultimately, we want to see them come back into midfield. So the moment the midfield frees up again, you're not going to feel comfortable with two players who haven't got minutes under their belt. So even if it was a lot more harsh and a bit more turbulent than it was on Sunday, I would want to see actual centre-backs to start getting games so we can see our proper midfield again.
Yeah, agreed. That's for sure. Okay, cool. So finally lined up with a couple of centre halves playing centre half. Always good to see. We had a pretty shaky start, didn't we, Glam? What were your thoughts on that first half display?
Honestly, I felt like deja vu. So, it's been a rocky road last 3 months. Usually when we're going in at half time, teams obviously settle for that. They're looking to obviously break us down and then get us on the counter and set pieces. So I'll be honest with you, at half time, I think I said to a few guys in the group, I'll take a 0-0 right now. And that says a lot. It's a Sheffield United and we're at home. But, the fact that the run that we've been on and the sucker punches we've taken, I was fearful. I was fearful for another sort of loss, sort of defeat, if I'm honest. So yeah, I went in very worried. I see Spoony's face there thinking, geez, is that bad? Nah, Spoony, listen, it's been a rocky road for me, man. I'm telling you, it's absolute rocky.
But bear in mind, this is a Sheffield United team who have won 3 games in the last 26 Premier League games. Spoony, I'll pose the same question to you. What were your thoughts on that first half?
You know what? I saw it as, the deja vu for me was a little bit different to Junior. I thought that Aaron Ramsdale had such an inspired first 45 minutes for Sheffield United that it would have been one of those where we come up against a goalkeeper like when we played Newcastle's Darlow, and they just have the best night of their life. Yeah. And we create chances. We had lots of chances that we didn't take. When we hit the target, I think at one point we had like 5 shots on target. The goalkeeper was stopping everything, and I was just a little bit worried that, oh no, now the strikers are going to start getting a little bit more anxious. That chance that Gini Wijnaldum had in the first half, then he parried it out. It came out to Bobby. It came out to Bobby, and then he didn't shoot, and I was like, it's going to be one of those days. But yeah, we played well, and then things turned around in the first half, and that happens so much in football. That there's just a change of energy, of momentum at half time, and then we came out and scored straight away.
Yeah. So exactly how Spoony says. We went into the second half now, all a bit like towards the end of the half. I was just happy to get to the end of the half and not actually be losing for the first time. We made it through the first 5 minutes without conceding the goal. It was always nice. So we go into the second half now. We have, and you're able to see. We're able to reap the dividends of this change in our shape, Mush. Jamie Carragher spoke at some length about how we've lined up a little bit differently. It's still a 4-3-3, but maybe not in transition or maybe not in attack. We realized that the team we're playing against are not very good. They don't really score goals, so we can afford to give a lot of players some license, particularly Curtis Jones. So, what did you think about the different setup that we had in this game?
Yeah, I think you raised a good point there. I think the big concern for me, which I kind of said even before the game, was that we've seen a lot of this midfield 3. So, and I'm not blaming Klopp for that. He's very limited in what he can choose at the moment. But I think the big thing was that we saw the same midfield 3, but all 3 of them had a very different job spec to the same one they've been getting week in, week out, which is something that I've complained about on the Patreon, which is Thiago's a great player. Gini Wijnaldum's a great player. Jones is a great player, but you can't just ask them to do what Henderson and Fabinho and everyone's doing, because ultimately they're specific to the skill set of the player that's in the team, right? So what I really liked was in midfield, like you say, Jones a lot further up the pitch. What I love about Jones is that he can really receive it in tight spaces and he wants to exchange the ball quickly. It's like I'm not going to say he's as good as of yet, and it's not fair on him because he's a kid, but I haven't seen someone like that since we'd had Coutinho, who can actually receive the ball with a lot of men around him a lot further up the pitch. What was nice, and I think it took some of the weight off him, I guess, compared to what a lot of Liverpool fans probably think of him, was that Gini Wijnaldum was allowed to kind of move up and down the pitch rather than play side to side. And you could just see it brought a completely different player out in him. He was driving with the ball. He was a lot closer to the box. And ultimately, what was nice about that was that Thiago could just get along with moving the ball side to side. So ultimately, rather than having three players who were sat in a horizontal line, suddenly you've got players who are in midfield positions that are actually disrupting Sheffield United. And we, like you say, Sheffield United are not scoring goals, but last season they were very tight at the back. So unless you've got players up the pitch who will actually move about this tight shape, you're not going to score. So I was very happy with that. And I think we want to see that more going forwards, where you either get more midfielders into the team to change it up, or at least start changing up what you require of them on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Curtis Jones there. I've got a bit of a niche stat. I call this an NBA stat. So in the NBA, they love these stats that are like so precise. So I got a little niche stat for Curtis Jones. At 20 years and 29 days old, he is the youngest player to ever score away from home for Liverpool since Raheem Sterling in December 2014 against Burnley.
Wow.
How about that for a niche stat? I will come to you. I will come to you both. Spoony, I'm going to come to you first. Curtis Jones.
Yeah.
What a player he's becoming. What do you make of him, and what kind of player do you think he can mold himself into?
I think he has all of the talent. Mush is 100% correct. Sign of a good player, especially a creative midfield player that's willing to always receive the ball in tight spaces. I think his confidence was knocked a little bit in that game against West Brom, where he gave the ball away quite deep. They got the corner, they scored from the corner, and it almost as though he didn't quite, as a young player, he didn't quite get that out of his system quick enough. And then
agreed.
The next few weeks, his performances were affected by that. Klopp took him out of the team.
Agreed.
But I mean, I've heard Jurgen Klopp describe him as cheeky, and I think what he means by that is you see some of the little step overs, or the way he'll do like a 360 on the ball and stand someone up, or a 180, or
it's a good arrogance, isn't it?
It's a lovely arrogance, and he's not taking the mickey, but he's definitely he's willing to turn a defensive situation where he receives the ball into an offensive one. And I think when you're looking at the midfielders as we have them, it's not the kind of thing that Thiago does. Wijnaldum doesn't do it. Henderson doesn't do it when he did play in midfield. So it's fantastic to have that variation. But listen, if he's got two consummate professionals at the club with him in James Milner and Jordan Henderson, and I think if he manages to keep his head on his shoulders and his feet on the ground, unless he's doing step overs, he can have an unbelievable career. I really do think that he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely brilliant. And he's one of the few players, as I come to you, he's one of the few players that when you know opposition fans, they also speak quite well of him as well. Then you know that you have a gem in on your hands. So Glam, thoughts on Curtis Jones against Sheffield United? Thoughts on him recently as he's broke out of this like comfortable shell that Spoony was talking about since his mishap against West Brom?
Yeah, I think that West Brom scenario was a testament to him and a challenge for him. Obviously, you know, as a young player, you're naturally going to blame yourself anyway, especially when it impacts you that way. And I think Klopp taking him out the limelight, I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I did want him to play the next game. He didn't. But I think even from last season, Everton in the Cup, and he scored that wonder goal. And I watched a lot of reserve football, and he didn't stand out to me, Curtis Jones. But his breaking to the first team has been remarkable. I thought, he's actually a decent player. Let's see if we can push on. And this season, he's coming to the team. And yeah, other fans do talk about him, but I like his impact to sort of how Jack Wilshere impacted for Arsenal.
Okay.
He's fearless, confident on the ball. And as you guys said, you've got Thiago next to him, you've got Wijnaldum. These are two big international players at the end of their careers, and he stands out. And I just think he's his approach in play is different, defensively and offensively. You know, at 20 as well. I'm surprised by his emergence, but he's just a player, man. He's fantastic, and that goes on. And just that goal against Sheffield United, a lot of players would have probably stopped and not finished that ball. And the fact of his young and arrogance is that he finished the ball, waited for the VAR decision, and it was a goal. I loved it. But yeah, top player.
Yeah. My own thoughts on Curtis Jones is similar to you guys. I think there is a young naivety to him, but it is in his favor. He doesn't have to dwell on the ball too much. That's my only criticism of him, but he's young, isn't he? My only criticism is that when he makes a mistake, he falls back in his shell and he's quite safe. And it's so clear for a player who's as expressive as he is. He goes back into his shell. He plays the ball side to side. Doesn't really try any progressive passes or anything to a point where he has to gamble as such. But honestly, I didn't think he'd be as good as he's become. Even when he first broke into the scene, I didn't think he'd be this guy. I was like, oh, okay, nice goal against Everton. Good job, mate. But honestly, he's grown leaps and bounds. He's got that arrogance that both Mush and Spoony spoke about. He's a delight to watch, and we generally have a gem on our hands, and he's growing at a fantastic rate. But from our current star boy to our previous star boy, Mush, Trent Alexander-Arnold has finally welcomed himself to the 2021 Premier League season. It's good to see him back playing some great football. So some pundits described it as the Cancelo role, which I find hilarious. Honestly, I know, Spoony, I know.
No. It's something else. I completely forgot someone was coming to the house, and he's here. So I might get him on camera.
Oh, okay, no worries. But yeah, on Trent, some pundits have described it as the Cancelo role, which I find absolutely hilarious. Trent Alexander-Arnold was absolutely bossing that game, Mush. What were your thoughts on him? And is this the Trent that we've been so fortunate to see over the last couple of years?
Yeah, man. I think we've got someone on the camera there. Spoony wants to bring in.
Yeah, I have. One second. I've got headphones in, so let's see if anyone can recognise this guy. Take your hat off, please.
Take your hat off.
Take it right off. They can't see you yet. Take it right off.
He looks familiar. He does look familiar.
Very
familiar. Have you ever scored against Liverpool?
Is that
Harewood?
Is that Harewood?
Is that Harewood?
Marlon Harewood,
Marlon Harewood.
Marlon Harewood.
Listen, the East End's finest.
East End's finest. It's all coming out now.
Mate. Oh, what's two special guests in one podcast? Oh my word.
So I want him to sort of come off, but right, let me see if I can take it off Bluetooth here.
Yeah, go on.
And then you can
you can hear him.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Marlon. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I didn't think I'll be talking to Marlon Harewood tonight. I can't. Gotta be honest. On a cold Tuesday night.
When I say the definition of unplayable on his day, this is the man right here, man.
Unplayable.
I would say so. Good old battle.
Yeah, you and your boy Nigel. My goodness, you guys. Fantastic. You guys inspire me because look, I'm bold, yeah, as you can see. And, as you can see, when you guys used to have like a buzz cut. You used to have a buzz cut, and Glam's got no hair as well, just like me.
Yeah.
You used to have a buzz cut. And I was like, these guys are brilliant. Maybe one day I can grow up and be this good as a bold man. Honestly, guys, it's been your delight to watch.
You look good.
Thank you, mate.
So Marlon has a company that customizes cars.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
So he's just come to bring my old banger back.
Deliver his car back.
Yeah, how is life post football?
Good, you know. Don't miss football at all.
Oh, really?
22 years is long enough for me.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but my business is doing really well. So I'm still in the game, being an ambassador for West Ham and Nottingham Forest. So I do a lot of talks and stuff like that. So still in there, but I don't miss it at all.
Oh, fair enough. What would you say? You don't say you don't miss it at all, but what is one thing you miss about football?
The change room, the banter. Literally change rooms and banter, meeting all the lads, just chilling every day, going in, training. I miss the training because it keeps you fit and you're physically fit and everything like that.
Yeah.
Just tapping his belly, make sure he's all right. He's
He's doing all right. Marlon, do you know what? Seeing as this is a Liverpool podcast, just one question from me.
Yeah.
Who is actually kind of two sub questions? Who's the best Liverpool player you played against, and one you felt was underrated when you played against him?
Obviously, Stevie G's got to be, because he broke my heart. Obviously, the FA Cup.
Yeah, FA Cup.
Oh,
on
yeah.
6. Yeah.
The best long shot you'll ever see.
I thought we won that, and then the person's superhero, man, just the ball's bouncing. Normal people put the ball out wide. Stevie G hits it on the volley, and it's gliding along the floor, and my heart sunk.
Oh,
You know the best thing about that goal is that about 2 minutes before that, he had another shot and it went off for a throw-in by the corner flag. Yeah. and then when it came to him and he was setting up to hit this one, I'm like, didn't you see your last shot? Oh, what an
He said he was too tired to do anything else. So he
just hit it.
So yeah, Stevie G, and most underrated. Oh, Jesus. Liverpool player. There's a few, isn't there?
Sam Hippier.
No,
like one you played against and you thought, do you know what? Why isn't this guy kind of hyped up more than he's actually been?
Rob Jones. Nah. To be fair, there's been a lot of Liverpool players that's come and gone, to be fair, on my age. We're talking, obviously, now about 15, 16 years now playing. So there's a lot of players.
Fair enough. What would you? I'll ask you this question. I don't want to keep you too long. I'll ask you this question. Oh, it's completely gone my mind. Yeah, go on, Spoony, as I try to remember.
I'd love to ask every professional footballer, right? Tell us about the one move transfer that didn't quite happen that you really wanted to happen.
The Tottenham one is hard because obviously being growing up in London, I was gonna go Tottenham, but being at West Ham and knowing what I know at West Ham, it wouldn't have been the right thing to do because West Ham hate Tottenham. So,
yeah.
Inferiority complex, I think.
And
it was.
To be fair, I had 4 great years there, so it was one of them. Do I go or do I stay? So it was Tottenham probably was the
fair enough.
Really.
And in this current crop of Liverpool boys, who would you say that you enjoy watching the most?
God, there's a few now as well. Jesus, but Trent's the one. I think
Trent,
he just excels year after year, and I think he's got more to come. Everyone else is obviously, I think they hit their peak, but he because the lads
levels to go.
Lads talk very highly about him at England because I obviously do cast for a lot of pros, but they say he's the one because he can play anywhere. He's not just a right back. They can see him playing centre midfield, centre forward, centre half. He's a decent player, to be fair.
No, I'm laughing, right? My girlfriend's there in the kitchen as well. She's never heard so much football chat in all of her life. What language is this?
What's the name of your car company that you're heading up?
AC13 Premier.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
AC13 Premier.
AC13 Premier. So all our listeners out there.
Follow you guys back and I can have a look at your podcast and stuff.
Yes. So it's absolutely. I will. I'll be in touch with Spoony right after this.
Marlon, what are you guys doing? It's just you doing mapping or you doing the clapers? I need my clapers done, man.
Do literally everything: buying, selling, wrapping, body work.
All right, yeah.
This has been the funniest development.
Honestly,
I need my clapers done as well. My clapers to get done.
Yeah, no, I'll take over, look after a lot of pros just to try and laugh after football and try and educate them about saving money as well. So it's nice.
Definitely.
Yes.
Wicked, man. Wicked. Good to see you, man.
While you're about, please follow us, Kop End Fracas. So Kop End and then Fracas. Twitter and Instagram. We'll follow you back on AC13, no doubt, and obviously your personal account.
Yeah, my personal one as well.
Marlon. Yeah, Marlon. No worries. Marlon, can I get the DJ Spoony discount as well, please? Because I'm not
Spoony prices, Spoony prices.
You might give me the normal price, you know.
Well, I told Laura that I wasn't having to pay for it. Like you just blew me up.
Say.
But yeah, we will let you go, Marlon. Apologies for taking up your.
It's Spoony, mate. I'll do anything for him.
Man. See,
thank you, mate.
Love. You see, that's real love.
Yes.
Let me. I'm gonna put this on mute. I'm gonna.
Yeah, cool, man.
No
worries.
Fine, yeah.
No worries at all. Mush. So from I don't even know how we go. I don't even know how we go back to talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold after having Marlon Harewood here.
You've heard the main man Marlon Harewood talk about it, but no, I'm happy to add to it. I think one thing I wanted to say about Trent, and I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans have noticed this, and especially when the stats come out. Weirdly, Trent always has better games when he crosses the ball less. And what I mean by that isn't that he hasn't got a great delivery, because Trent obviously has a great delivery. I think the big thing about Trent is that when he slows it down a bit and decides to pass, dictate the game, that thing you said about the Cancelo role, I'm laughing to myself as well, because Trent was doing what he was doing.
Exactly. If anything, it's the Trent role, isn't it? That's what I find so funny.
Exactly. Exactly. I'd say it's a bit different because obviously Pep likes his fullbacks to tuck in. But what I loved about Trent yesterday, I say yesterday on Sunday, was that he was happy to go to feet. He went down the line. He drove past his man. I just feel like Trent hit a stage in December where he just stopped varying his game. It just became the same cross it from anywhere kind of thing. When we know this boy has so much talent and he operates in an area of the pitch where he has a chance to make better choices. So yeah, more power to Trent, because we've seen Robertson. He's slowed down a little bit this season, this last month or two, and it's not his fault. He was carrying us in terms of attack for the first month or two of the season. So we all know Liverpool are all about attacking through both sides, isn't it? So yeah, more power to the wing backs, because our whole club and our success is built on that.
I think what the fullbacks have faced this year is that the opposition are sitting in so early that there is no room behind them to hit those crosses that they became so famous for last year. So people are saying the crosses aren't beating the first man. A lot of the crosses that Robertson and Trent put in, they were low crosses. They weren't for a big number 9 at the far post. But in order to hit that ball, you need the opposition's back four to not be as deep as they have been.
The angle's never on, is it?
Yeah. So what they haven't done is mixed it up enough to say, well, if you drop in that deep, can we square it to the edge of the box and take a shot from there? But then we've got midfielders that are a bit shot shy. They're not hitting those shots from the edge of the box. That's one of the things that I miss about when the Ox plays, because once he gets inside 25, 30 yards, he will have a pop. But Genie had a shot. Genie did have a shot against Sheffield United. But I guarantee you, if you look other than Curtis Jones's goal, it was that one shot from Genie. Thiago didn't have any shots. So you're not going to get anything from the midfield.
Yeah, that's and you touched on something so key there. It's all about keeping the defenders honest. They shouldn't know what you're going to do every single time you do it. There was a serious lack of variation in Trent's game. Now we see Trent showing that he's actually a very good dribbler. He does have I'm about to say handles, it's not basketball. He does have good footwork.
Can handle the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And then something was so prevalent, it was so obvious, was that we saw the interlink between Mane and Robbo at the start of the season so well. Robbo, it was synergy. It was telepathic as such. But whenever it came to Salah and Trent, it was always like there was like a disconnect. There was never any overlapping runs. It was always the same. Cross it from, we call it the middle wing, if you like. Just slap it in from there and just hope that Salah could go in and do something if the cross doesn't come to fruition. But yeah, I can wax lyrical on Trent all day. Glam, you've got anything to add on our former star boy Trent?
Well, yeah, no, obviously I'm very critical of him. I'm not going to shy from that. I am critical of his defensive displays. And I have been, but he the last few games he has shown his quality, and that's all we need, like, to get to the bar line and desire to get there. You know what I mean? Especially with no crowd, you know, the motivation for these guys are probably not the same as before. So to get the ball in the box and the desire to get there, you know, it was pleasing, and I'm glad that obviously but to be his ideas, because we go play Chelsea on Thursday, and the next minute I'll be rinsing him again. But you know what I mean? But he's a talent and he will get better. And he's still young. Was he 23 still?
Yeah.
22?
23. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Good on him, man. Good on him.
Yeah, I think what you said there is true. Like, when you can tell he doesn't like defending. Like, I have to be honest. Like, it's obvious though. Like, even when he's
too good to defend.
Because when you just wait, no one really. Okay, look, unless you're a defender, like who's genuinely a defender looks like you're a centre half. The right back is not really a right back for us anymore. I mean, he decides we call him our De Bruyne. He defines things. Yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't love defending. You can see it on his face. So a lot of the time, it's his lack of effort that gets us. But even in the Everton loss, you saw that he was really trying hard. Obviously, he's a local boy as well. Those derbies, they mean a lot to him. You saw him genuinely trying. Gives away a penalty at the end. It's a bit dubious, whatever. But there's a real effort there, and that's all we want from him, I think.
Yeah.
Because he gives us so much going forward. Just give us a focus and an effort going back. I know you don't really love. You're not a Wan-Bissaka, but it's fine. Just try and stay focused, not just let your man pass by. But anyway, from Trent to one of our January signings, I do want to talk about Ozan Kabak. Yeah, where do we start from Kabak? Spoony, I'm going to start with you. I'm really interesting to hear what you think about him. What impresses you about Kabak, and what do you wish he could do a bit better?
Well, I'm going to be careful what I say here because I've got former Premier League number 9 listening to me talking about centre halves. I think, in my very limited experience of playing football, and I played to a decent standard, but never a pro, right? But here's the thing, that I went from playing as a forward, a right winger, into playing in defence. And what I learned playing in defence is that 90% of it is about your starting position.
Okay.
And what's concerning me about Kabak is his starting position is wrong. And the minute your starting position is wrong at this level, let me tell you, you are absolutely struggling. Because, I mean, he's lucky that McBurney didn't have half a yard extra of pace, because he would have scored. And only because he started in the wrong place. And when I look at Nat Phillips, even though you might look and think Nat Phillips isn't as naturally gifted, what he does, he knows what he can do, and does what he can do well.
Agreed.
And that's all you want from a centre half. So listen, I think Kabak is still young. For a centre half, he's 20. He's got time to learn the game. They say that centre halves really don't come into their own until they're sort of 28-ish anyway. So listen, if he does 25, 26, if he serves his apprenticeship and with us, and he's got fantastic, one of the best defenders in the world at the club to learn from, then let's see. But at the moment, I haven't been too impressed. But I am glad that we're at least playing centre halves at centre half.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Glam, I do want to come to you next. Do you think? I think it is quite clear to see. I think the general consensus will be that Kabak hasn't necessarily been as great as we want him to be, and I have to be a bit considerate of the fact that he's come. He's a final day deadline day transfer. We needed him to hit the ground running, and for a 20-year-old coming into a brand new league, it's going to be a bit tough, especially on a free-fall Schalke team who are doing awful in the Bundesliga. It's a complete mess over there at the moment. Do you think he is? Do you think his shortcomings, do you think his failures so far is a victim of him being in an unsettled back line, or do you think that it's on him?
The thing I got to see, touching on what Spoony said about his side position, the problem I got is it's not come in and do a Van Dijk sort of present impact and make sure you're the best. The problem I got is the basics he's doing. I'm seeing the basics and I'm just thinking to myself, brother, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I see his clearances. And I think he's rash. He may be nervous, but there's no crowd there. And you know what I mean? There's no crowd to be nervous. It's just the sideline coach and your players, your teammates. So I don't see why he should be nervous. I think Nate Phillips looks more competent than him.
Yeah.
And I've been screaming Nate Phillips. I'm not saying Nate Phillips is the next best thing to slice spread, but he does his job. You don't like me. You don't know me. I love defenders. He does his job, get out of there. Restart again. Reset. Do your defenders, reset again. And I think with Kabak, maybe he's looking to do too much. Maybe that's the problem. You've come in, 20 years of age. His name sounds brilliant as well. Kabak. Everyone's excited. I just think that, just do the basics, mate. Come here, do your job, get yourself a signing. Let's be honest, he's on a loan. Now, if someone comes and he performs like this,
he's going back.
Is everyone going to say, yeah, let's sign him? I don't know.
Chance. Yeah,
I don't know. You know what I mean? So I just want him to just do his job and be basic. I'm not telling you to do Van Dijk and, make a clear difference, but just do the basics. Because right now, I'd rather play Phillips and somebody else. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't want to start him.
Sorry to jump in there, but when you look in the Premier League, right, and you'd say, even though they're struggling a little bit, Burnley's Tarkowski and me, They're not fancy,
Right.
but they defend. You look at Lewis Dunk at Brighton, not fancy. I'm not going to be disrespectful and say agricultural, but I'm going to say they just defend. They win their tackles, they win their headers. I'm
100%.
cool with that. I'm genuinely cool with that because you've got the man them around you, either side fullbacks, in the midfield, up front.
Exactly.
They're the ones to bring you all this stuff. Just head the ball when it comes in the box, tackle man, and pass it 10 yards. There's always someone who's 10 yards away. All right, if you're Van Dijk, you can spray it with your left foot 60-yard diag, cool. But if my man just goes 10-yard, boom, I'm happy. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Agree.
I think Mush, I'll give you the final word on Kabak. My other last question is, do you think he's a long-term success? I think we probably know the answer to that right now. A starting position is a worry for me. A lot has been made about his strengths being in the air. He doesn't even impress me in the air, honestly. Like you see him a lot of the time backtracking when he comes to his headers. When he wins his headers, he's falling over. It's like, what's going on? There was a moment that worried me in this game, the Sheffield United game. And for listeners, we did win this game, by the way. We did win this game. That moment that did worry me, where it's a complete lapse, where he doesn't know where he is, doesn't know where his man is. But McBurney he tries to clear it against McBurney, and it goes in. And then Adrian's like, what on earth is gone wrong here? He doesn't fill me with confidence. The basics that he doesn't do right, simple things. He's just not good enough, in my honest opinion. I don't think.
No, I'll say it's the one of the two. Either he's not good enough or he's trying too hard. That's what I can't work out just yet. He doesn't look good.
But
I've got a few little bits to add to that, though. I've got a few little bits to add. I guess one thing now. I mean, Spoony was energizing me when he was saying about the starting positions, because we recorded a Patreon piece, which is like a members piece, straight after the game, Spoony, and that was the first thing I was saying that some other cast members took offense to, which I said his body shape seems to be wrong quite often. If you look at the Everton goal, for example, his body is facing the left. Every other Liverpool defender is facing the right. And ultimately, those things you would think are things that should naturally be in your game by now. Now, I think one thing that does worry me in terms of Kabak is that if you look at the types of passes that seem to cause trouble, these aren't, if James Rodriguez or if, a really clever playmaker, it makes a pass that you appreciate is difficult to defend. It's one thing. But we're talking about just looped balls in behind, and that happens in every level of football. Surely it should feel almost impossible to be able to get in behind a Premier League defense with such a basic pass. And I think that is worrying for me, because I don't know how that improves. But what I will say to defend Kabak compared to everyone else, which is, if you look at almost every other successful cog in this Klopp team, Jurgen Klopp gives every player, whether it's Andy Robertson, whether it's Ox, whether it's Fabinho, they had almost 2 months to acclimatize and come into the team. We play a very unique way compared to everyone else, and it takes an education to come in. And he's not only a kid, he's come into a completely alien language, a league, and it's the baptism of fire of all fires. So what we might be seeing now is the rocky road, such that in 2 months' time, when he's had that proper education, he'll look like a very different player. So I don't want to give him an unfair standard compared to all the other players I love in the team have. So yeah, let's give him that time at least to give us that thing.
I hear that, Mush, because I never ever want to be disrespectful when I'm speaking about professional footballers, because they're like the elite of the elite, especially
Definitely
ones that play for my club. But what I'm saying is that, in order for him to get to the next level and regularly play, there's some fundamentals that he has to work on, and it's not even as though he's blessed with blistering pace where
that's the problem,
where he can set a trap, because you see clever defenders, they'll go and play it in there, but they know they can recover to get in that and turn over. Then you're in transition.
Fofana does that a lot for Leicester.
There you go. But he doesn't have that turn of pace either, which, anyway, listen, he's a young man. Hopefully in 2 or 3 years' time, we like talking about another inspired transfer by Michael Edwards, and off we go.
Yes, here's to hoping. But then in the more recent future, we do have a couple of games coming up. We do have a big week of football, as always. There's no escaping football in this COVID season. We have a Chelsea game at home and a Fulham game at home. So Need I remind you guys? I'm sorry, Spoony. I'm sorry. We haven't won at home. We lost our last 4 home games. I can't believe I'm saying that. To Burnley, Brighton, City, and Everton. We haven't scored at home in about 9 hours of football. But it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom at all. Glam, I want to come to you. Please try and make a smile ahead of this game. We have a Chelsea team under a brand new manager in Tuchel, as I think that's how you pronounce his name. What are your thoughts going into the game? Do you think is this a must win? Do we approach it on the front foot? What are your thoughts?
Well, these are the games that I don't really worry about, funny enough, because these games, the guys will rise to the occasion. You know, we played a good Tottenham side, beat them twice this season. West Ham were very on a rise. You can see on the table. Mikel Antonio, I've seen him give top players the run around, and Mate Phillips came out quite well. You know, so these are the games I don't worry about. It's the ones that the Brightons and the Burnleys that I know where they've got nothing to really play for, and they just try their luck. Chelsea will try to play, which will play into our advantage, because the team that plays, we're able to play and express ourselves. So I am confident going into the game, we'll get something out of it. You know, and I think we will get a win. I just don't know, obviously, if Alisson's back. I don't want Adrian in goal. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather Kelleher. So if Kelleher's in goal or Alisson, I'm confident we'll win. If not, then I don't know.
So I was just about to say, Klopp has said that all of at least Ali and Jota will be available for the
Jota's back. Jota's back. We're winning, guys. Jota's back. We're winning.
And also there's a possibility of Fabinho coming back as well. And there is that now we actually have centre half playing centre half. Spoony. How do we line up now? So imagine we have an Alisson back in team. Obviously, he slots back in. He's our big man between the sticks. We have a Jota who comes in and he gives a question over Bobby. And we have a Fabinho who comes in. Perhaps he comes back into midfield. How would you line up for this Chelsea game?
Wow. I mean, I'm not sure. If I'd seen maybe a little bit more from Kabak, I would have started with them two and then put Fabinho into the midfield, because these big games are often won and lost in the middle of the park. You got to control what's going on in the middle of the park, and then that tends to dictate the outcome of the game. So I would love to have had Fabinho in the middle of the park. That said, you know, he might be a great partner for Phillips. But what I would do, I think I would, as long as he was 100% match fit, I would throw a curveball at Chelsea and I would go 4-2-3-1. And just because they will be setting up this week for Liverpool to play 4-3-3. And I think we could just catch them on the hop. Again, that game against Man City where we went 4-2-3-1, they couldn't live with us for the first half. All right, the game's first 15 minutes of the second half, and then the last half hour of the game sort of petered out. But you know, that's a brilliant Manchester City side. So that's the way that I would go. And I feel really sorry for Jota. You know, he got injured in a game he shouldn't have been playing in. He scored 8 goals in 11 games at that point. And he was knocking on the door. I think it's only loyalty why Jurgen hadn't taken one of the 3 strikers out in the main before that. But
for sure,
I would go 4-2. I would go 4-2-3-1. And if he does go 4-2-3-1, I might actually play Fabinho as one of the 2.
Cool. So yeah, I'm glad you did mention that, because it was like a 4-2-3-1, but at times looked like a 4-2-4 at the Etihad. It looks like we're just going all guns blazing, which was great to see. And we've had like 8 days since our loss to Leicester to scheme against the Sheffield United team, Mush, where we knew they're going to play a back 5. And that back 5 is it, and Chelsea also play a back 5. So there is some similarities in that sense, and how they obviously there's a big gulf in quality in both sides. But how would you, or would you like us to continue the same approach that we had with Sheffield United and Spoony is saying attack, 17-18, all guns blazing, rock and roll football, or you want it a bit more measured and refined and maybe play out a bit more of a controlled game?
Well, I think Spoony and Glam have both raised some good points. I think the first thing to say is that Chelsea's back 5 is a bit different to Sheffield United's, because they play a 5-2-3. They only ever have 2 men in the middle. And what Spoony's saying about maybe playing a 4-2-3-1 and having a number 10 that kind of disrupts their shape, we can really outnumber them centrally, because Chelsea play they basically play a choice between Kovacic, Kante, and Jorginho, whichever two they want to play, and then it's very much a front three. So there's a big hole there in an important area of the pitch that you can dominate, and I think that
I'll definitely be surprised if Jorginho plays in this game.
But potentially, but ultimately, whoever it is, even Kante, as incredible he is with his work rate, he's not going to cover 3 men versus
you
know what I mean? And I think one thing that Liverpool can really capitalize on is Chelsea are very blunt in attack. They're not creating a lot of chances. They're struggling to score goals. And I think Liverpool, if they're brave enough and they know that Chelsea have this wing back system, they put a lot of balls across the box, but aren't really creating much. I'm going to say it. I think Liverpool really have the chance to have a very, very good result. And I'm talking about a bit of a spanking, to be honest. I think I'm very confident. I think Chelsea, it's very much a work in progress. I think Tuchel's a good manager, but there's a lot of holes in that team. A lot of players like Chilwell and Reece James, who are very talented fullbacks, aren't wing backs, and they're struggling to adapt to that change. You know what I mean? So I think whilst Chelsea are still in the making, let's catch them cold and get some goals, because I loved Sadio Mane playing in line with the goal against Sheffield United. He just looks so alive to it. And I think whoever's in that back three won't want that. Salah's gone. If Salah doesn't go a game without scoring, my goodness, you know what he's going to be like the game straight after that. So yeah, that for me, I'm really, really confident, because I think Chelsea are the kind of team that we can really exploit.
Cool. Well, that's filled me with confidence, Mush. I have to say. Spoony, do you think there's any potential banana skins in this Chelsea team? Any areas I mean to be watching out from on their side?
Listen, I've seen us lose at home to Burnley, so I feel like I'm a fruit store that only sells bananas. Do you know what I mean? It's like this season, I've been ridiculous. You don't lose at home for 6 to 8 games, and then you can't win it for 4.
Insane.
Listen, Chelsea are a good side. He's an excellent manager. They got fantastic players. I mean, where does the magic come from? At some point, Timo Werner's going to score. Mason Mount, I think, gives them so much. He can carry the ball from deep. He can finish off of either side. I think he's quite an underrated player in that team. I really do. If Giroud starts, again, he's not the most fashionable number 9, but he will give any centre half a handful. Every centre half will know that he's in the game. Maybe that's why we have to consider playing Phillips.
Spoony, I was saying that if Giroud plays, I think Phillips has great awareness for clearing balls in the box, especially aerially. I think if Giroud plays, then Phillips has to play. You can choose his partner, but Phillips is the one you don't have a choice with, I think.
I mean, the only thing is, does Tuchel go with Giroud, or does he go with Tammy Abraham? Because if Tammy Abraham plays, then we're going to have a little bit of a problem with pace. Maybe not so much with his finishing, but he will still give a threat in behind for Chelsea. But I would start Phillips, and maybe just because as a reward for how he's played. I don't think he's actually let us down since he's been in the.
Agreed.
So for that reason, I would play him.
Yeah, on regards to Phillips, I think there was only one game that I was like, okay, perhaps you're not the best on-ball defender that we have. It was Brighton. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was Brighton away
against Mope.
Yeah, it didn't look that great.
And Connolly.
Yeah, it didn't look that great, and there was a few passes that went astray. But since then, honestly, I got no complaints.
Yeah, because Van Dijk didn't look that good against Aston Villa.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's very, very true. Yeah, we'll get an absolute run around from Grealish and Co against Aston Villa. Absolutely. Watkins, he got a hat trick, didn't he? Yeah, no, agreed, absolutely. Guys, you're all talking a big talk. I quite like this, but I'm gonna have to tell you guys to put your money where your mouth is. I need some predictions for this Chelsea game. Mush, I'm gonna start with you, mate.
I'm going 3-0 Liverpool.
Okay. Glam?
2-1 Liverpool.
Cool. And Spoony?
I was going to go 2-1 as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. Odd goal.
Cool. I'll go 2-0. I think
I'm going to ask Marlon. Marlon, what are you going? Liverpool, Chelsea?
Chelsea.
I said Chelsea.
Did you
I'm following from AC13 straight away.
Did you hear how the Hackney just came out at me? I kissed my teeth. I didn't. Never kiss my teeth in public like that. Like a reflex.
Oh man, hilarious. Okay, cool. And then right after Chelsea, as we do wrap up, right after Chelsea, we have a Fulham in fairly decent form. They're I checked the form table recently. They're actually 8th in the form table. Just for measurement, we are 18th in the form table. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Fulham have actually only lost one game in the last 7. They are ticking along quite nicely, but especially because I think they were everyone's pick to go down. Especially following their recent times of them coming up in the league. But honestly, that Nigerian cohort that they have up front, I love to see it personally, and they're doing well. They're doing well. But on topic of banana skins, Mush, what are your thoughts about that game?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because Fulham, weirdly, I'm more worried about Fulham's threat. Someone like Ademola Lookman is just
same.
Like,
I'm more worried about Fulham attacking than Chelsea. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really weird, isn't it? Because whereas I'm worried about Lookman and I just feel like we have the capacity to maybe underestimate Fulham, similar to what Glam was saying, which we just won't make the mess of with Chelsea. I just remember how the last Fulham game went, and we were really poor. We couldn't handle Dickord over Reed. I think since then,
game was awful.
Yeah,
that was when Hendo was centre half, and he had some of the worst performances I've ever seen.
I mean, Matip came off at half time, didn't he? But I think what is a challenge, and I think our midfield, Thiago has really struggled against this, is that Ruben Loftus-Cheek is an absolute powerhouse and great ball carrier from the middle with lots of quality as well. So based on how Thiago's played against Pogba and a few of the more mobile types, I would hope Fabinho kind of comes into his natural position by that point. If Fab plays there, I'm always confident. So I'd be confident then, but knowing Liverpool, it'll be one man in and another man down by the end of that Chelsea game. So I don't want to have too much hope at the moment. Not trying to speak it into existence, but
touch wood.
Yeah,
for sure. Glam, how about yourself, mate? Thoughts on the Fulham game? I think it's probably going to be in line with what you said earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So the opposite from Chelsea. I mean, I'm more worried about the Fulham game. And I'll be honest with you, the Fulham since we played Fulham is going to have been even better. I think the game at Craven Cottage, we was lucky to get a draw. I think they were very impressive. I was shocked. I thought we was going to go there and beat them 6-0.
So did I.
I'll be honest with you.
So did I.
And they showed some real resilience against us. And since then, they've come into their own. And I mean, Lookman's looks good. Ruben Loftus-Cheek looks like he's playing.
Maya as well, the new signing, he looks good.
Zambo Anguissa as well.
The only thing I'll say about Fulham is Aurelio still in goal. I've never rated him.
Areola.
Yeah, Areola, that's
it.
Yeah. Areola. I've never rated him from PSG days. So we need to get some shots in on that guy because he's not that technically gifted as a keeper. I'll be honest with you. You go watch him. He's got some howlers left in him, and I think that would be our weak link to attack. But let's get past the Chelsea game first. The Fulham one, I'll be happy with a 1-0, but I'm more confident with the Chelsea game.
We're at home. Come on, Glam. Where's the confidence gone?
We've lost 4 in a row, bro. Home don't mean nothing. We ain't got the 12th man. We've got no fans.
Oh, gosh,
go on. Training part now. All you got is your coach, your mates, and your teammates on the sideline cheering. There's nothing else, mate. Yeah. Home means nothing now. Nothing.
Go on, Spoony.
I can only but agree with that. The fear factor, walking down the tunnel, hearing the crowd singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," it's not there. But let's just hope that result against Sheffield United just gives us a little bit of momentum. We could gain a little bit out of the Chelsea. I think as long as we avoid defeat against Chelsea, we could then go, all right, 3 in a row, try and beat Fulham at home. We're expected to beat them at home. The game at Craven Cottage, we started horrendously slow, and we started, as Mush said, like we expected to beat them 6-0. And I, even though I don't think total quality-wise that the Premier League is the best league in the world, it is definitely the most competitive from top to bottom.
No doubt.
But any day you turn up thinking you're going to take liberties, you could get felt up. And, we've seen it enough times already. So, listen, as long as they respect, and they should remember that game against Fulham, because that actually started and was right at the beginning of that horrendous run.
Yes.
They should look back on that and go, we do it, we be professional, we don't slip up, and then we march on. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, if we could get at least 7 points out of, including Sheffield United, and we don't lose to Chelsea, and we beat Fulham. It's not been a bad week, but I think we should win both games.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah.
I definitely echo the same sentiments. And yeah, who would have thought that we actually be saying that we're out the next 3 games we'll be expecting a full 9 points. But yeah, this is where we've come. This 1 win against Sheffield United, bottom of the league, can do to you. But yeah,
I'm glad though that we did bruck up West Ham.
Now, Spoony wants to start taking back, you know.
He still got your car, you know, Spoony.
He hasn't. Here's the keys.
Marlon's done. Marlon's done then.
Oh man, hilarious. Okay, honestly, guys, this has been a pleasure to record. Honestly, I want to say thank you to both. Obviously,
Cheers,
DJ
Spoony.
Marlon,
Big
thank
up,
you so much
Marlon.
for joining us. Yeah,
Big up,
for sure.
Thank you.
Hey,
Big up Marlon.
Big up Marlon, AC13, check it out. Yeah, absolutely. From anything, I can't believe we're talking about cars on a Liverpool pod. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Who would have thought the only Asian on a podcast would feel left out because he has hair? That's the most important.
Oh man, hilarious.
Beard gang, mush, beard gang.
Yeah.
We're about, man.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been excellent. And yeah, till next time, guys. Check us out on all our socials. Kop End Fracas on both Twitter and Instagram. Join our Discord if you haven't already joined that as well, and our Patreon. So from as little as £3, you can sign up to our Patreon and you get exclusive content. Like who knows? We might even be able to reach out to DJ Spoony and Marlon again in the future. So yeah, if they're down for that, you can get some exclusive content there. So yeah, until then, we'll see you guys soon, and never walk alone. Take care. Peace.